Well, good day, everybody. Welcome to the Lifetime Training Podcast. And today I have the one and only, our elite performer, Miss Kyrstyn Niespolo. And she has been with us for about 4 or 5 years and has just grown immensely, both on the digital side and her personal programming. And we're just going to go into her story and just how she's made such a crazy amount of success, moving her business from basically all in person to virtual and the combination of both. So thank you for coming on and welcome to the show, Kyrstyn.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I know that, you've been in and out of fitness and, competition, and just why don't we start with just you explaining your story and how you got into this fitness career?
So I started my health and fitness journey when I was 19 years old. I actually started competing when I was 19. I've been in sports my whole entire life. And ended up competing and taking it to the next level. After I competed in my first show, I ended up winning and just finding my new passion for the sport in general. I knew I wanted to always help people out as far as helping them just in general, whether it was health and fitness or was just with the everyday life type of thing. I was actually in school at the time for occupational therapy and ended up switching my major over to Kinesiology Exercise Sports Science and getting certified in training just to help people in general achieve their overall health and fitness when I knew I was so passionate about that too. Just because it's an overall huge accomplishment, just knowing where you can take your physique and where you can take your body in general from nothing to actually something and sculpting it and just seeing what you can do on a physical level with that. After I ended up competing and getting my degree, I ended up getting certified in personal training. I was a caregiver for senior living at time, and I knew I wanted to take things to the next level as far as helping out not just old people with senior living, but more so helping out people with weight loss, people who wanted to also compete and achieve the same goal that I did. Especially when having people in general asking me, what are you doing? How have you transformed your body like this? How can I get to where you're at? Then just more so asking for my help to train them, pose them for their competitions, teach them nutrition. So when I got certified for personal training and nutritional coaching, I was able to help other people in general achieve the same goal. Outside of competing, I ended up, after personal training online, I ended up managing a private studio for 3 years. And that's when I more so really grew my business and picking up more clientele too, before Lifetime Fitness scouted me out and found me and then brought me over to them.
Well, and I'd love to talk about that because obviously you were scouted, and I don't think a lot of people out there know about that process. And this podcast reaches obviously people internal, but also a lot of people external. And would you mind just going through, what that scouting was like? How did it come about, and how did it, obviously lead to you to becoming a studio manager?
Right. So the scouting process was, I actually received a message through social media from Ifanda from corporate, and he started following me. He loved my social media platform. I have a very large social media platform where I post a lot of health and fitness related stuff at the time. So he was like, have you ever thought about, working in a bigger place instead of a smaller studio? And I guess I was comfortable where I was at the studio and never thought okay, there could be something more. There's something bigger out there. Plus I was younger at the time too. So he reached out to me and was like, you should come on over to Lifetime. And I was like, I'm happy where I'm at right now. I think I'm just going to hold off and stay here just because I had more flexibility too with my schedule. I was working multiple jobs with caregiving as well, and competing at the same time. So it was kind of overwhelming. And then I kind of pushed it off to the side. 3-4 months later, Ifanda comes back in, they pop back up and they're like, so have you thought about it? What are you thinking now? And he was just very consistent with it. And then until I got to the point where I was like, wow, I'm capped out at this private studio. I'm reaching out to just people that I brought in, and I'm building my own business here with just what I have in my social media platform. And I was like, how can I get bigger? How can I grow my platform to the next level? And how can I, take advantage of, obviously too, a bigger platform. So I agreed to coming over to Lifetime, and I was like, wow, this is a big platform. I loved their community. I loved what they had to offer. And that was just more of my, okay, I'm all in type of thing, just because I can see how much more of a community they had, and how everybody was just very supportive too, and the knowledge that they offered their trainers, their employees. And so I said yes, they brought me over, and here we are 4 years later. I'm the small group training manager over there. I'm a coordinator, and absolutely love it,
Well, and it's funny because in the industry, you've got a lot of people that have moved from, say, a Lifetime to a studio because they feel like the freedom's there and, all the other things. But you've had the kind of opposite approach of where you started there and you said, I can grow my platform, which you've had an established platform, which we'll get into. But, so since coming over, how much has then, Lifetime then been able to help you grow that platform? And, that leads to more reach as well as financially better.
Right. So at a private studio, you don't have anything. You're building up your own clientele, right? So it's whoever you are pulling in through the door. So it's a lot more hustle. It's a lot more work. You're advertising yourself. You're using your own platforms just to pull in and build your clientele. Whereas at Lifetime, coming over to Lifetime, it was more of like, as I came over, the platform was a lot bigger. So it's like, here is this ocean and here are all these fish in the ocean. And I'm just this small fish in this ocean now. And I'm just like, what do I do? Like everyone's kind of like migrating towards me now. And so now it's like they already have everything already established. So throwing me a small little fish in this big ocean, now it's just kind of like, okay, now I have to talk to these new people, and I have all these people around me to kind of, are they going to like me? Like, what if they don't like my vibe? So it's now growing my own business inside of a bigger business too. And I feel like when I came over to Lifetime, just the community in general, being able to already have these classes, built and then performing in front of more people as well, helped me grow my business too and in my community from what I brought over.
Awesome. Well, obviously nowadays, Instagram, TikTok, all the social media channels, Facebook are super popular and, helping people grow. And, I know that you've grown, your Instagram and those channels pretty significantly. And, it's something that some professionals have a hard time and difficult time doing. Would you mind going into, what allowed you and what were the things that you did to help grow that influence online? And then we'll get into how that impacts, you and your ability to reach people.
So it started off with, I wanted to start this fitness Instagram account. I was just posting, recipes, the selfies in the gym, just working out all the time, my workouts, my nutrition plan. So just kind of started off with just something for fun. And then I found that as I started competing and I picked up sponsors along the way and I traveled nationally to compete, I found out that I was meeting more people. And as I was meeting more people, we all just kind of connected through social media because we wanted to be, we wanted to have like-minded people that were supportive, motivated, kind of inspiring to each other too, to keep people, keep us going. And then as I kept traveling and growing with sponsorships and growing with new clientele too, I was able to keep growing my social media platform. And then it ended up turning into people on social media were asking, can you help me? Can you help me achieve my fitness goal, my weight loss goal? And I was like, I would love to, but I wasn't, certified at that time either. So like, how can I do this? Reach out and help these people, but also turn it into like my future career. Mm-hmm. And that's when I became certified, got my bachelor's degree in kinesiology. And I was like, let's do this. Let's take this to the next level. And that's how I ended up growing my social media platform even more by posting now other clients' transformation stories, their success stories, their weight loss stories in general, pictures, and then building off of that, so getting more clientele from that too, and just using that to my advantage as well.
Awesome. Well, I see people dabble in it, but they still don't grow. I mean, you're 30,000 plus people, and were there things that you had in your mind? You mentioned nutrition plans and the selfies and different things like that, but was there a philosophy or mentality in your mind that I needed to do, so many per day or be considered? Like, what were the things that, because a lot of people try this, but they still don't get, the impact that you've been able to get.
Right. So it's pretty much knowing like your following. So like knowing like your niche. So what your following is asking for, what their vibe is, and what they're like looking to see from you. When I first started social media, it was like not posting just one time a day. I would post like 2 to 3 times a day just to create volume. And then those are always funneling through, especially with hashtags and the different things from TikTok to, Instagram. There's so many different algorithms out there that you kind of have to like pay attention to or like learn about, because that will make a huge, impact on just your social media platform in general. But posting, say 2 to 3 times a day is what I would stay consistent with at the time. It's different now, but like at the time when I was first getting started, it's like, if anything, you have to put, a lot of time into it, but it all pays off at the end of the day and in the future, so just being consistent is the main thing. Posting 2 to 3 times a day, every single day, just taking out a little piece of your day to just push out something, whether it's say a recipe or whether it was like a selfie or a workout, or just anything health and fitness for general, which is my niche.
Got it. And so prior to Lifetime, then you come in at Lifetime and we're a small group training performer and you're getting in front of different people. How did that impact, just you mentioned it, the volume of people that are at a Lifetime? How did that impact your social media, if at all?
Yeah. So when I was at the studio, I was, running boot camps and classes, but there was like, 10 to 15 people. When I came over to Lifetime, now I have like all my classes are waitlisted, right? And like packed out. So now we have like 60 people pre-COVID. Right now it's like, but so it was just like, wow, it's just so crazy to see everything and just meeting all those people. They trust you, you grow your community. They have like, you grow your own like following. So anything that you do, like they want to support you as well too. The community is insane. But just having that connection with them and then them all funneling through, because then you want to be like friends on, social media and everyone's following each other at that time. You're introducing people to new people in general and like friends. So it's like one big family. And we've all, grown on social media platforms together, not just in person with health and fitness, but also on social media. So we're all always in touch.
That's great. Great. Well, you mentioned COVID, and obviously with the chaos of the pandemic and, Michigan being one of the strictest and longest to be, held out, what made you stay with Lifetime? Because, let's be honest, we did lose a decent amount because they thought grass was greener somewhere else, but you decided to stay with us. And, what did you learn from that? Why did you stay? And, let's get into how does that impacted you actually for the better?
Right. So when we left or when we were in quarantine, we thought, okay, this is just temporary. We thought it was going to be like a week and that's it. We're coming back. After the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks happens, we're like, wow, like we don't even know when we're going to go back. So we're like, what do? We all want to stay active, our community in general. I wanted to make sure that we were all still, holding each other accountable too. So we would go to parks and I would hold park workouts for anyone who wanted to join. Zoom workouts we did just to keep each other accountable. Cause I knew like if I didn't stay consistent with what I was doing inside of Lifetime, during this quarantine, that there was a possibility that I would come back to Lifetime not having my community or my following that I did going into quarantine. So, and it wasn't just like, okay, losing clients. It was more of like, okay, this is a time right now that we all need to make sure we're staying healthy during especially COVID. And how are people going to do this by themselves when they're always so used to leaning on me or taking my classes in general? So I wanted to be able to help them during this time, which is why we did the parks workouts and why we did the Zoom calls and the Zoom workouts too. And so when a lot of people were leaving Lifetime, or some people were like, I could do this on my own. I've done this on my own before, and I know where I got, which was like, yes, I grew my business significantly amount, but I wanted something bigger and something more, because I never want to feel like, okay, I'm capped out. This is as far as you're going to go. I'm always looking for the next big thing. And Lifetime has helped me get to that point. And that's why I was like, okay, do I want to go back to being in a small studio or running my own business or having this community and having the knowledge that I do now throughout, Lifetime? And that's why I say it was more so for the community in general. And just what I've grown at Lifetime too, outside of coming into it. And I just love everything that Lifetime has to offer for my clients that I brought over, but also the community that I built, and where we're continue to go.
Yeah,
So.
and the education and ongoing. I mean, some of the stuff we're going to get into a little bit later, as well as I worked in small studios before I started at Lifetime too, and in-home stuff. And I was in Chicago, so it was cold weather climate, and a lot of these great clients that you have. I had one client that I trained husband and wife 5 days a week each. 7, 8 o'clock, but they also left for 3 months out of the year during Christmas and all the holidays. So like my whole financial income just fell apart, and
Right.
in a lifetime that doesn't happen. I mean, you'll lose clients, but there's going to be more that are
Yes.
there. There's always there. So, I know that you learned and adjusted. I know, taking things outside, but I think a bit more happened through the pandemic to getting you to what we'll dive into is the whole virtual programming that you've really taken off and just ran with. So, but anything else that you learned through this whole pandemic and things that you were able to do to help grow your business even through pandemic?
Right. I would say you never really know like your support group and your community until something like a pandemic happens, and how many people like really support you, how many people actually truly care about you and the things that you've done for them, or how of an impact that you've had on like your following and your community in general, especially with me being like a bigger group training performer in general, as opposed to one-on-one. But I've also learned that, okay, even during times of that are super hard, that people are willing to do whatever they can just to stay healthy, and just to focus obviously on their health and fitness in general. But also I learned how to do everything virtual through a camera. So like instead of talking to say hundreds of people live, now I'm just talking to a camera, which is a totally different vibe. Because now there's nobody around you. It's just me talking and performing to camera. And I'm just like, are people watching? Are they listening? Or what's happening? So there's nothing really to bounce back or feed off of. It's just, I've learned the comfortability, being comfortable with that, and learning that, okay, like I can do this and keep growing from not just in person, but also now virtual programming and virtual performing too.
Got it. And I think that's a huge piece before we dive into, your online programming that you have and the virtual programming. But how important, in your opinion, was it for you to do all the things that you did in person to then be able to do it virtually or online?
Mm-hmm. So in person, it's a lot different because of the energy in general, but also like the cueing, and you're able to fix people's form in person, where I can go and adjust them. Whereas virtual, it's all about how you cue. So I can't go and move somebody if I can't see somebody doing the form the wrong way. I have to make sure my cues are good enough that they can they can hear that and then fix their own form themselves. So it's very tedious when it comes down to in person compared to virtual. You have to be spot on, very detailed, just to make sure that the client doesn't, hurt themselves while they're performing the movement or the workout in general.
Yeah, it sounds like you almost have to assume the worst, so to speak, in not in a bad way, but just assume that in your mind. So you're cueing and giving instruction all the time, not just in a corrective match or when you see something.
Yes.
But that's what I'm getting at is so many people nowadays are going straight to virtual or straight to, more so online. And to differentiate, online is building the programs. They're doing it. Virtual is in front of a camera with them. But, there's so many people that are just going straight there without getting the in-person experience. And I think, like you just said, I don't know that you would have picked up on something like that if you didn't do the in-person. And that's kind of where I'm asking is, how important do you feel the in-person training is for you to be an effective virtual or online coach?
I think it's very important. Yes.
Yeah.
So, especially because if I didn't have the in-person, say knowledge or the knowledge in general, but the in-person interaction too, of how to correct and what to see where they're pushing their weight into their toes or their heels, compared to a virtual where you might miss those things. So I feel like that in-person is very, very important, especially when it comes down to people are just going right into virtual, but they don't understand that in-person is a totally different like atmosphere. So yes, you can do things at home or you can do things all virtual, but are you still going to give 100% knowing that somebody can't see you or watch you doing your actual workout or giving 100%? So people are more likely, I feel like, slacking in the virtual side of things when they go right to virtual instead of going to in-person and virtual. So it's just more like that accountability too, and that motivation of the program in general the accountability that's being held during the program and throughout the program, and then also too throughout different classes that they take.
Got it. Got it. So, again, staying on the group side, because obviously group is, whether it's smaller groups or large group, you just influence more people. And people will start, oh, well, you can't correct. And, going down that rabbit hole, let's just save that soapbox for another time, because you'll get over it at some point later in your career. But you're influencing a ton of people in small group, and you're a phenomenal small group trainer as well as group performer. Where do you attribute those skills, and how did you develop those skills to be really good in that sense and in that part of the business?
So I am a people person. I've done the whole online training and sitting behind a computer all day and just doing programs and programs. And I'm just like, this is boring. Like, I need in-person interaction. I need to talk to people. Plus I'm Italian. So we always are talking to people, meeting new people.
this whole sorry to cut you up, but we both are talking with our hands so much because we're both Italian that's all you're going to see in this video.
Right. And you're like, yeah, and don't look at my nail. My one nail's broken. Edit that out.
I got it.
But yeah, so I could be at a grocery store and I'm meeting new people and bringing in new clients just from like that in general. So I would say it's more of like a characteristic and a trait that I've had. But say now being able to help people, which is something that I'm passionate about now, I'm able to use say my strengths into something that I'm passionate about, and I really want to say reach out and help more people. You can't really say. I always tell my clients, like, I can't teach you how to have personality. You either have it or you don't, so, and just a matter of, you can help coach them and get people to say, feel comfortable with you. But my thing was, I want to make sure that people feel comfortable with me. They know that they can trust me. They can come to me with anything at any time. They can ask me any questions that they need. So I wanted to create more of like an organic community where we are all friends, we're all family here. If something goes wrong in their life, whether it's personal or health and fitness, that they can always come and lean on me and reach out to me, which a lot of my clients do. We're very, very close on all different, sides of personal and health and fitness related things. So
Got it.
I would definitely say, like, how did I build those? I was born with those.
Well, but you have, but there's things that you're born with, and then there's things that are developed that you're born with, right? So having a personality and then taking that skill set into having that personality and the knowledge, from your degrees and your certs and your experience, and putting that together is a skill, of taking all that and kind of making it, because it's whether we like it or not, some of the smartest programming trainers out there, they're just so bland and they don't have the connection. And that's why they lose clients, even though their clients say it's too much money, but that's just typically always the excuse that they use, because it's the easiest and they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So, again, diving into, you built this great in-club brand and an online brand. And now you pull all of that stuff together into creating, and do you teach both small group training and studio classes? Or, okay, so you're teaching both what we'll call group exercise as well as group training. And so, how has, you being involved in the group exercise, how has that impacted your ability to build your group training programs?
So with the group fitness, it's more of like, say, just a workout. So it's just a random workout that we do as a class, just for people to come in to get their workout in and leave, right? It's not a program design, whereas our small group training program is all a 12-week period, 12-week program design. So where we're doing different movement patterns, we're progressing in different phases as well. So with my community and group fitness, it was kind of more so showing them that, okay, guest group fitness is good just to get you started in your health and fitness journey, but then you get to a point where you might hit a plateau. Well, now we need to focus more on, say, strength training and not all these cardio circuit classes. So you kind of chap them over, kind of mended, built that bridge between training and group fitness, where there's so many people that were just shunning personal training and small group training that were coming from group fitness. So my goal was to build that bridge of, listen, like, I do both, and you can look like this by lifting weights and not getting bulky, and you don't have to be afraid to like lift heavier weights than the 10s or the 12s in the group fitness studios. So the community from group fitness pulling them out slowly but surely have now all converted over to personal training, and you can see how their body has changed, the benefits between the both too, and just knowing that there's so many different programs that you can do outside of just, cardio HIIT training all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I can imagine too that, depending upon what they're doing in your group, in some cases they're in your group training a few days a week, and then maybe they're coming into your group exercise the other couple of days a week. And then, now getting into, the most exciting and how you've just absolutely tore it up for us is now taking those same people and taking them into the online and virtual training programs. So, obviously, not obviously, but people that are out there, Kyrstyn's created kind of a persona around KBody and then also KBooty as two programs that we're going to be launching, one that we've launched, one that we're going to be launching. Talk us through from a trainer's perspective first, how has this impacted your ability to not only reach people, but increase your ability to make more money with really the same or nominal amounts of time?
So there's only so many hours in a day, right? So I could take on class after class, hour after hour. I'm working 10, 12 hour, shifts. And I'm only tapping into X amount of people that I can get to within that 10 hours, right? When I created, say, KBooty, my 6-week KBooty program, I was able to reach out now to hundreds of people. So I believe there's over 300 people that end up signing up for the 6-week program, which I would have never been able to reach out to in one day or help out in one day just because of time or in person. And there's only one of me to be able to do that, right? So when we created, say, KBooty, it was a better way for me to reach out to more people, help more people, all within just a platform and the digital platform in general, which has definitely increased, right, revenue, increased, say, just my other business with KBooty bands and KBody as well. So it's just knowing that, like, okay, you have this community, how can you help more of them or bring them back? Because some of them have fallen away from COVID. So it's like, how can I bring more of those people back to show them that we can still do these things inside our club, but also at home? And that's when we launched KBooty with both of the in-club and at-home program for people to do, not just inside of a gym, but they could do that from the inside of their own house and still get the results they wanted to, but still be physically active and still focus on their health and fitness during, say, quarantine and COVID. And
And you said you went from basically 0 to 300 in what was the time frame of you getting 300 people additionally paying you an additional, was it 39 or what I don't know what you were charging, but whatever that was, but you got 300 people to then pay in extra for this program that you built. And how long did that take?
So we ended up launching it, and we launched it for only like 7 days. So I was like, okay, we'll launch this out 7 days. Let's just see. The first one we ended up doing free. And then the ones that are coming forward, obviously, like the 8-week summer strive, which is coming. We're going to start that May 1st, which we'll announce on social media and all that.
Yeah.
But those ones are all going to be an additional, but with more. Everything as far as like we had the 7-day launch out. So we're like, okay, let's see how many people will bite on for 7 days. This will be just the first free one, just to create momentum, to see if people end up, even liking it or wanting to convert over virtually or in club and see how they feel for this. So 7 days, 300 people came onto it. We cut the date off right after. People were still asking, and I was like, well, maybe we should just keep this. Should we keep opening it up? Should I have like a 7 more day, like for them to keep signing up with it? We ended up saying, okay, no, we'll do that for the next one. And it was a wide, I could only imagine how many more people would have, signed up with that.
So you signed up 300 people in 7 days.
Yes.
That came on to the freemium portion. And then obviously there's different aspects of it. And, there's a lot that goes into this too. So, would you mind diving into, I believe you worked with Cliff, and, would you mind going into the prep work to be able to get it to, where it is today, how much time are you spending with these people, now, but we can't discount all the time that you spent putting the program together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's back up a few steps. Making the whole program was obviously the most time consuming. So you're sitting down, you're creating this whole program, we're tweaking everything, fixing everything, making sure we have all the things that I wanted to add in with the idea that I wanted to create with KBooty. So it took a long time, to build it. And then now it's like, once it's already built and created, we launched it out. Now it's kind of like an easy breeze, right? It just runs by itself type of deal, which then helps me have more time to create my next program, focus on my in-person clients and classes as well. So it's just the timing of making your program. Once you have that set up, then it just speaks for itself. Then it's always there.
And when you say a long time, just a rough estimate,
I would say, so I wasn't obviously doing it for, say, full time. So I was kind of doing it in between clients, doing it on my free time, my days off. So I would say roughly around, 3-4 weeks of how we were creating that.
And that's the inception of the concept. That's how is it going to be communicated? That's the programming. That's entering the programming into the platform. So there's all of that stuff. But then once that stuff's going, then you interact with them from a live perspective. How often do you interact, once the program's going?
So I was interacting every single day. I'm already on social media, and I just love talking to people. So I was like, let's see who's saying what, let's see how they're enjoying today. And I would throw out questions to keep people engaged, interacted as well. And just seeing like how they were just liking the workouts in general. And so I was doing every day. You don't have to go every single day. I could have, gotten away with every other day, or say, twice or 3 times a week. I just wanted to make sure, okay, it's my first program. I'm a perfectionist. So I was like, I'm going to just go all out with everything. And then I was just, love talking to the community, answering all the questions as well. So I was doing it every day, just being consistent to make sure that they know I'm engaged outside of all of the messages that they're getting and the criteria they're receiving.
Well, and that's the big thing. It's easy to get people on, but then to maintain and retain those people is through the engagement. So you're spending maybe half hour or so a day?
Like I would say, maybe a day. So like 5 minutes here and there, responding to the messages throughout their questions that they have, the in-person questions. But it's like there's a big group. So it's more of like a support group. Yep. So everyone's, asking questions to each other. They're all getting to know each other too. So they're kind of, creating this environment themselves. And I'm just kind of overviewing, right? And then if someone has a personal question, they're messaging me separately and I'm responding and answering to that. But it's cool to see like how many people are connecting in this actual group and how many people have the same lifestyles or becoming friends to do workouts together, or, meet up at the gym to do the workout together, and just the community that is going inside the actual virtual program, not just, outside of it as well.
Well, and another thing too, this isn't like I'm texting people in a group text. This is a designed fitness application that all that communication happens and the notifications happen. So that is something that Lifetime provides to you at no additional cost. So you don't have to pay for any of that. And you're able to use it and then maximize it both on a free and a fee-based model as well. Awesome. So you've got the KBody, which obviously we all can figure out what that's about. Right. But then you've got KBody that's coming out. So would you mind teasing us on what's happening there and what people can expect?
So KBody was the first part of it, right? So I was like, I always knew I wanted to create a fitness accessory line. And then whatever happened, from there happened. So during quarantine is when I was like, okay, this is going to happen. I'm going to make this happen, to parlay that with my programs and the KBody program in general. Then we started thinking about other things like, okay, so now people are asking for not just booty bands, but gym apparel, workout bags, water bottles, all that stuff. And people like love the booty bands so much that they're like, you need to create more. So it got me like thinking a little bit. I'm like, okay, so let's just, I'm always in different workout sets. People are always asking me where my clothes are from. I'm like, I think I can do this, and just more so finding the quality. So KBody will actually be launching out May 1st, which is my own fitness apparel line, different workout sets. This is actually my red set here from KBody. And then there's the logos on the back and everything. So there's a bunch of different sets and apparel that's coming that we will be launching out May 1st. And you guys are the first to know. So
awesome. and then there's programming though that's going to different. Like your newer programming is also going to be changing. So you're able to maximize on the clothing lines and the bottles and the apparel and the accessories and things like that. But then also from a programming standpoint, what's different, what's coming, and what can they expect in that program that's going to be a smaller fee-based model.
Right. So the KBody programmings will be, the next one will be Summer Shred. So that will be launching May 1st as well. So we plan on launching many different programs along the way, since it's summertime and everyone wants to, get the summer body shredded or leaner for that bikini body. The summer shred program is going to be 8 weeks long, and that's coming in May. And we're also tapping into, say, different workout clips of me personally, where KBody didn't have that. It was just more of like just the virtual program. So now we're kind of tapping into a little bit more in depth of more classes with me that are virtual, where you can play at any time, do the workout at any time on top of the virtual program as well. And then we also have the nutrition program, a sample nutrition program, a part of that too, just to keep people accountable, but also knowing now it's not just the workout program that you need to get summer shredded, summer lean, or that bikini body, but what goes into your body also plays a huge role in, say, how the muscle mass is on, how lean you're getting too. So incorporating the nutritional program into that is kind of be more of like a double whammy outside of what we did for KBody program. So it's a little bit more advanced as far as like things that we are having to offer into KBody 8-week summer shred.
That's fantastic. And anything else, before we take off, obviously I want to make sure that, and we'll put it in the show notes, just, your Instagram handle and how the direct access they can get to you through the Lifetime app as well. And we'll put that stuff in the show notes. So you can just click on that on whatever channel you're watching, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all the other ones. But anything else you want to leave, the fans with and the people out there listening?
Just if you have a goal, if you have a dream, and it's something that you're constantly thinking about, just to go after it, whether it's going to take you a month, a year, 2-3 years, zone in on that. If it's something that you really want, and go after it and get it, because the biggest thing is you never want to live in regret, especially with all the changes that are going on in life right now too. You never want to live in regret. You always want to just go after what you have or what you want, what you want to get and achieve that goal, because anything is possible.
Love it. And, I always say one day at a time, have the dream and take it one day at a time. So awesome work. Well, thank you so much for being on. And I can't wait to see the stuff that's, coming out in the future.